Hi everyone, welcome to DSA for Beginner series. So today let's see one more lead code problem. Let's see the problem statements here. So here they're mentioning given a string is containing characters such as we have a couple of brackets which are common bracket, flower brackets, and then square brackets. So a string will contain all kinds of characters. So here determine if the given string is a valid or not. So how it is a valid? So we have three conditions. Open brackets must be closed with the same type of brackets. Open brackets must be closed in correct order. And every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. We have some examples. So let's see how we can solve this. So here, if you see the first string, right? So this has one open bracket and one closed bracket. So as per the first condition, it says open bracket must be closed by a same type of bracket. So here first one is a common bracket and it was closed by a same common bracket. So say let's see here. So this here we have all types of brackets. So each bracket has one opening and one closing. So same goes here. So this is also a valid string. So here, so first a common bracket is open and then a square bracket and then this. So what is a, so all of them are valid string because each and every open bracket has a valid closed bracket. So let's say invalid input. So what could be invalid input? Something like this. So this is an invalid string because there is no closed bracket for all of them. So let's see some other example. So let's say one got closed, open, then was closed by a flower bracket, so invalid string. So something like this is invalid. So how to see if how to check if a valid string or not? So how to bring up a intuition like to how to solve this particular problem? Okay, so how are we going to solve this? So what we need to do? So let's say this particular example. So this is closed bracket or common. So this bracket has to be validated against this. So how to track this? So we cannot have a pointer. Seeing two pointer approach we cannot do because how do we know which pointer has to point where? So that also is not possible. So here we see this is next to each other. This can be easily validated. So to so here if you see while we are checking each and every character, right? So if you see this particular example, so this particular index should see the previous index. So the innermost character, let's say for this example here, so this should validate the previous element. So every closing bracket must match the most recently opening bracket. So how to do that? Maybe we can make use of a stack. Yeah. How? So stack will always track the last in first one. Basically, so whatever object you are putting in, right? So it will track the topmost element. That is what we need, right? So here, if you see, so the bracket which you are tracking, so it should validate against the topmost element of the stack. So let's see an example. if you see, let's take an example of bracket. So here, so whenever there is an opening bracket, so we push it into a stack. So first opening bracket came, then again flower bracket came, then one square bracket. So the moment we start getting closing bracket, right? You pop the element on that from the top and see if it is equivalent to the closing bracket. You pop this, then this is gone. Second, this is also closing bracket of a flower bracket. Whenever you see this, pop the top of the stack, we get this equal, then pop it out. At the end, we have the common bracket which is of closing. Same thing, we need to check if the stack has a opening bracket or not. So by the end of the string, right, the stack should be empty and string also should end. So what is the pseudocode for this? Let's see a pseudocode for this. So string equal to, so for I equal to 0 to s dot length, I plus plus. So if character s dot character at I is equal to is in open bracket or open square bracket or open flower bracket. Then, so we'll create a stack here, stack, new stack. Uh, New stack. This is just a pseudocode. This syntax may vary. So right after that, you push it to a stack. S dot character at I. Else if what happens? So we check if character at I is one of the closing brackets or closing bracket, or then we just see the top of the element. What to do? Character C equal to S dot peak. If the character which was popped here is equivalent to the opening bracket or not of this particular. So let's say if this variety's opening bracket is present or not. So let's say the popped element, so top of the element is this. Sorry. So the top of the element is opening bracket. So we are checking the current character, right? If it is closing or not. So that time I'll pop one element. Let's suppose we got opening common bracket. So that time it it considers as a valid string and goes to the next character. So let's see for this, right? So first three character it got inserted. So it's all three open. Then this particular character comes. So first top got closed. So we will do s dot pop, right? After that, again next iteration, again it is a closing bracket, again will pop, then done, then last. So what we have to return if s dot is empty. So if stack is empty, then it means that we have traversed everything and the validation is also done for each and every bracket. So we have a catch here. So what if I have, so let's take an example. 1, 2, 3, only this much. Okay. So that is when, so is empty will be checked and then it will return false. So let's say I have one more closing bracket. In that case, what happens? So first three will be inserted, and then while closing, all the stack is also empty. So there is one more iteration. Stack is already empty. What we need to do? So the closing bracket is there. We are not pushing. So we need to add one more condition saying if s dot is empty and the iteration is still going on, then return false. So this will cover all the edge cases. So let's see uh, how the actual code looks like in our Leetcode. Okay, so as we can see, we have initialized a stack and then we have converted the string into a character array. This we can directly do s dot character at as well. So this it's up to our individual uh, priorities. Okay, so this also we can do or s dot character at. So we can do here. Okay. So once we do that, so here if you see for all the opening brackets, we are pushing it into a struct. Else if we're checking for all the closing bracket, the first condition is if it is already empty, then straight away return false. Or else pop it and then verify it for each and every bracket. For this bracket, is this closing or not? Same goes for all the other brackets. At the end, we will do a return of stack empty. So let's try to execute this. Yes. So we can see it is executing fine. Okay. Yeah, we saw how we can solve this parenthesis problem using stack. So this is the most asked question in any interview. So this is just basic push and pop. So if you see, the time complexity for this is we are just having one for loop basically here. So this is just O of 1. And where we are validating what is the space complexity we are using at max O of log n because only half of the length we are using. Okay, the space complexity if we see, let's say if I have all opening brackets here in the input string, so that would become O of n. So time complexity is also O of n, worst case complexity, and the space complexity is also O of n. Yeah, let's see what we can solve in our next tutorials. Happy coding.